So it's 3:30 in the middle of the night. I can't sleep. I'm looking at this bright full moon, like almost full, already kind of fading. We have a full moon fading. And I just had this beautiful talk with my friend on the phone. She called me and we talked like about giving and receiving. Actually, also I talked like to another friend about the same topic. She kind of now starts to tell herself, I should allow myself to receive, I allow myself to receive. And the moment she went to the river and she kind of told herself that affirmation, something very magical happened to her. And now she's doing it again and again. I think that's so beautiful. And also like looking at the moon right now, she's just so beautiful. And also she doesn't shine on her own, I mean, like kind of she's receiving light from the sun, and also she holds it, and she shows us kind of that receiving isn't passive, it's sacred, and the moon, I mean, she moves through phases, right? Like the way we do, like, waning, resting, returning, and still it's like we kind of never doubt her power, and we never ask her to be full all of the time. So why should we expect that from ourselves? I think she teaches us that softness isn't weakness, that it's very powerful, and also, that pulling back can be part of a rhythm, and also that there's beauty in ebbing just as much as in flowing. And I oftentimes have to think of my sister when I'm looking at the moon, because my sister was kind of like the sun for me. And when she left this world, and I'm smiling right now because I can feel her presence so clearly since she's gone. I really do. And you know why? Because when she left this world, it was like I was watching the setting sun slowly fading behind the horizon, and suddenly she was gone. She left her body. Or that isn't even right. I mean, just something shifted, right? So like when the sun goes behind the horizon, suddenly you only kind of see this aura, and suddenly it just starts to get cold and dark. But then that same night I was looking at the moon, and I could see my sister in the reflection of the moon, and I knew one day she will come full circle and we will see each other again. And I can see her now already, I can feel her. And I mean, the moon is like this great feminine archetype, and we all have this energy within us, like every living being. And not in a gendered sense, I mean that like by kind of being receptive, that's what I mean. And she's kind of intuition and emotion and rest and depth, and the part in us that just listens instead of pushing, and the part kind of in us that feels instead of kind of, I think I want to learn to live more in a relationship with the moon, because I think it's to remember that we don't always have to give or to go or to do, but sometimes we're just here to feel and to receive and to be. So, I mean, when your nervous system is tired of surviving, when your heart is kind of tired of proving, try to look to the moon. She'll remind you, and she'll remind you that you're allowed to slow down, and she'll remind you that you're allowed to reflect, and you're allowed to receive. I will go to bed now, and dreaming about the moon. Good morning. Well, before I get up, I was just thinking about how much we actually perform in our lives. I mean, just because we want to protect ourselves, right? Kind of because of the pain and the wounds life inflicts on us sometimes, but we don't need to perform our lives. Because, I mean, we don't need to earn our right to be here. We don't need to earn our right to rest, to take up space, to be loved without doing anything spectacular. So that's just what I was thinking. Because I feel so many of us grew up thinking that we need to do something to deserve peace, to impress or to hustle or to perform or to hold it all together and just to make ourselves likable and needed and wanted. But I don't know. Why is that? And I mean, even for me, not wearing makeup in front of a camera would have felt so crazy scary, like maybe 1.5 years ago. And now I don't feel the need to do that anymore, because I trust more. I mean, it's weird when we start treating life like an audience that we have to win over. It shouldn't be like that. I just want to say, since we're in a relationship with our life, it doesn't need this version of you that is polished and perfect. It just needs the real you. Yeah. And this real you can be messy. It can be quiet. It can be everything. So, because we're allowed to be just here.
Baby boo boo. I am just here to say good morning. And I hope that you had a good night. Something, hopefully, somewhere in there was a conversation that felt good and a little less about confusion and more giving you something that you deserve in this moment. Some light loving.
Today, I'll be thinking about life in ways of giving and receiving. Maybe that's also a little invitation for you. I mean, everywhere we look, everywhere we go, there is this dance of giving and receiving, right? I just think we need to be aware of where we pour our energy into, because oftentimes giving isn't always generous. Oftentimes it comes from fear, right? So sometimes we give because we're scared to being left behind and to be heard, and because we think we need to earn something, love, for example. We just pour into places that never really fill us back, you know? Even if temporarily we might be receiving some material gratification or some status gratification, whatever, but it's not sustainable. I'm allowed to choose where my energy goes. It's my choice. It's your choice as well. So we're just allowed to ask, does this nourish me right now, truly? And does this reflect myself back, or does it drain me? Because again, when you give into something that feeds you, whether it's relationships, you know, art, rhythms of life, whatever it is, you'll be able to receive what truly nourishes you, plain and simple. Okay. There's not much space here. So, let's see which card falls out today. Oops. Oh my god. That was quick. It's the Death card. But again, so many people are afraid of this card. But actually, I see it like it's actually one of my favorite cards, because it shows that with each ending there is a new beginning. Maybe the message of the card is, you know, to receive you really need to let go, and we can't open our hands to new gifts if we're still clinging on to old weight. Maybe the Death card is kind of telling us we need to let go of that. We don't need to carry this anymore. So we'll make space, and in this space we'll begin to receive. So there's this kind of outward force many of us live in without realizing it. You know, this push, this grasp, this constant reaching, striving and chasing. And it can look like ambition. It can feel like productivity. And it can even masquerade as love, especially when we're giving and giving, hoping to be chosen or to be seen. But underneath, it's often resistance in disguise. Resistance to stillness, resistance to vulnerability, and resistance to being met without effort. Because somewhere along the way, many of us have learned that receiving is unsafe. Receiving is lazy, receiving is weak, receiving is selfish. So we stay in this role of the giver, the chaser, the doer, not just because it's how we survive, but because it's how we stay in control. But nature teaches a different rhythm. You know, there is a time to move outward, to act, to plant, to offer, and to go after what we want. And then there is a time to open inward, to be still and to be nourished, and to let life come to you. You can't chase the harvest and rest in the sun at the same time. It's just not working. I mean, receiving isn't weakness. It's receptivity, it's soft power, and it's trusting the magnetism of your being. It's letting go of control long enough to let the good actually land. And that's where resistance creeps in, not because we don't want love or peace or abundance, but because part of us still believes we have to earn it, to chase it, to perform for it. You know, I feel that there is a time to move toward the thing, and then there is a time to let it move to you. And both are sacred. I just feel that receiving demands even more courage, because it means like giving up control, trusting, surrendering, maybe even staying still. And sometimes I ask myself, what if the thing that we're aching for is actually circling around us like the moon, like steady and patiently just waiting for us to look up.